They've been up for a long time. Fremantle definitely have to ask the question.
In the derby, I think they want to keep the foot on the throat, the Eagles.
All right, what's Fremantle got for us in this last term? Sandilands the tap. Prentice went to ground, but he got it up beautifully to Shuey. And the combination very effective. Selwood away with a couple. He's got Rosa. And the setup's complete. Inside full inch. And look at that. Bang! Just about game over now.
In my experience in showdowns or derbies, when you've got them on the ropes, you just keep pounding them. You don't give them an inch, and why would you want to? I mean, there's so much rivalry between these two clubs, and Freo in the past have been pretty good. So while West Coast Eagles are on top, they'll just keep going, I would have thought.
Classic centre bounce clearance. They sharked Sandlands once again, just harder in at it, and they kept their feet. Good goal, Big Q.
Fair start indeed for the Eagles to this last quarter. Dispiriting for Fremantle. It's going to be a real test of what they've got. Shuey, Duffield. Just hammering it on the boot. De Boer and Waters, but ball not bouncing Fremantle's way at the moment. Gaff just stumbled on that one a little bit. And the umpire had a thought about that, but decides not to pull the trigger.
To match the intensity here, Freo. If they don't stand up and be counted here, they will get rock and rolled in this last quarter.
Crowd, of course, in full voice. They just sit back and enjoy it. Here's from the third quarter, Kerr and Crowley. Oh, that's why Crowley looks so uncomfortable. Daniel Kerr thought that might be a nice little opportune moment for a little sly one.
Jeez, wouldn't want to get reported late in the game here, Kerry. He's just going to keep control.
Got to find something here, the Dockers. It's not just about this game, it's about this season. Richmond follow Adelaide. They've got Adelaide next, then Richmond, Essendon, Collingwood, the Western Bulldogs. They've got to find some spirit here, or they'll be out of the 8 before they know it.
Well, I think they're out now. Shepherd to Gaff, who's inside range again. It was scrappy, but it didn't matter. This man is everywhere.
I'm talking 8 permanently.
Yeah.
They are plummeting at a rapid rate of knots.
The percentage will be important as well, boys. And Crowley's not going to Kerr in this last quarter now. They've decided to give that one a miss.
So Josh Hill, almost point-blank range. He's loving every minute of it at the moment, Josh Hill. So are the Eagles fans.
Well, they can't even get their hands on the ball here, Freo. It's 10 disposals to 1. Duffield looks very, very ginger coming off Jacko. You have to have a close look at that experienced defender.
Well, Shepherd just set them alight. Gaff has proven to be a terrific recruit. Magnificent runner, who's an elite runner in the under-18 competition in Melbourne. They've picked him up, he's delivered. Been a one-way street. So far, this has been an embarrassing second half for the Dockers.
Yeah, picture has got just bleaker in this last term. Oh!
That is a great attack on the ball.
From both ways. Sandilands. I was a bit concerned for my safety up here, Drew, with you bouncing up and down on that.
I want to have another look at Daniel Kerr's attack on the ball there. That's unbelievable.
No,
only Chris Mayne was left wanting either.
No, Winston guided it nicely.
Well, he's a hard nut too, Mayne.
Daniel Kerr's in the thick of it. He's on all fours at the minute. He ran into Aaron Sandilands just by ball watching, so it's all happening.
He's enjoying not getting tagged.
Going to say he's happy to be freed of Ryan Crowley for the minute. Marston into the pocket. Here's Nick Nat coming out. Just cruised out into the pocket. And thus had the ball thumped away by Zach Dawson.
Here's a look at it. Oh, that's reckless.
Well, he is head first. Sandilands knew that he had to react straight away, that his handball was a little wild and woolly. Rosa Couldn't shake off Broughton completely. Then a fumble by Patersons. And just a nudge along the line by Barlow doesn't help the cause too much out on the full. Obviously, they're missing Nat Fyfe, but it doesn't explain the big drop-off on its own.
They need to find some midfielders, don't they? I mean, Mundy and Barlow have had interrupted preparations, but their midfield's not good enough to be a top 8 side.
No, it's not. The second rotation through the middle is generally includes Pavlich, and I mean, they're a better side if they have got the opportunity to keep him forward, but they can't at the moment.
Well, Hill's only had 9 disposals. That's not enough. Crowley's a tagger. Ballantyne's better as a forward. Is Clancy Pearson A-grade at midfield yet? I don't think so.
He's an A-grade effort this year. And that's you know, that's a tribute to him, but he's a role player. He's not a match winner.
The 2 best midfielders, Mundy and Barlow.
Dean Cox. Can he join in the party? It looks like he's going to go mighty close, but that's all.
325 disposals to 243. They've had a lot more of the ball. 33% more of the ball.
Well, all the numbers indicated what we're seeing on the scoreboard at half-time. The second quarter numbers, that is, with the clearances. But they were unable to put it on the scoreboard. But I don't think anybody saw what's come from the Dockers in this last 40 minutes of footy.
Off the chest of Pavlich. Instant kick back to the wing. And Lynch helps them sort it out. Gaff. Back end of the half-back flank, just worked it back. He knew he had mates to go to. Hurried kick along the line is effective enough. Shepherd takes the tumbling one from Brennan.
He's a goer, Shepherd, isn't he?
And we talked about finding midfielders, and you know, Shepherd hasn't had a huge amount of opportunity, but he seems to have taken that in the last few weeks, Jared, and the more you can add to the middle, the better.
Yeah, well, we spoke about him last week. A high draft pick, took 12 months to get into it. Left to Frame. Let's just have another look at the Duffield issue. In fact, it was Shuey and Duffield.
There'll be a bit to look back on, won't there, for the match review panel, which Mark Rasciuto wants to join us. High ball from Gaff. Hill's waiting down. Through Mzungo's hands, McGinnity. Worked it back to Rosa. Just shapes it up and under again. Darling hit it hard. He almost marked it. Hill. Brennan, Hill just finds a way out back. Rosa. He'll think about it. He'll do more than think about it. He'll act. And he'll kick another one.
He's on fire, Rosa. He's had 38 disposals, if you don't mind. 5 clearances, 8 inside 50s, and a sausage roll to top it off. He has had plenty of space. He's been dangerous from go to woe today. And a good goal to finish off a great day for him.
Yeah, it's a pretty handy one. Hill once again extracting the ball, likes to kick it rather than handball, but nevertheless got the job done. Great conversion. And disappointing thing for Freo too. Mundy and Hill are the boys that have been out on that wing for most of the day, so better be a bit more accountable than that, boys.
Fremantle's lowest score ever at Patersons Stadium is 6 goals, 8-44. That is not even going to be challenged by what we've seen so far, such as the total domination of the West Coast Eagles since half-time.
Yeah, they've only topped the ton once this season. Against Geelong in round 2. And as you said, Hutto, 3 goals. That's we're heading to the record books.
Yeah, it's a paltry total, and it's not got a lot to do with their forward line. Well, that obviously is part of the worry for them. Oh, that was a dangerous one. Marston sensed a little moment there. Gets another crack at it. Willing and able McGinnity. Oh, was that high? From one angle it was. Maybe it was just a little West Coast manoeuvre. Not sure.
No, looked high. Only 8 players in this quarter have touched the ball for Freo, and we're nearly 10 minutes in.
Plenty of ruckman about. Darling tries to rip his way through. Natanui, Mzungu, Dawson.
It's almost a game of volleyball, and I guarantee you, Nick Natanui would be the best volleyballer out there. How'd you like to be spiking one from him, Hutto?
I wouldn't like to be on the receiving end of it.
I think there in that passage of play, you see Jack Darling, his ability to just fight for the ball. 3 Fremantle players just allowing him to just fiercely compete for the contest.
Spot
it's
on,
all
Jacko.
about attitude.
One side's fighting, the other one's just going through the motions, trying to muster up some desperation.
Well, that was close to being too high, and it ends up being holding the ball. Mundy. All right, let's go on this trip with Freo. Let's see how far they can advance. Silvani. Half back to McFarlane.
You know they're in trouble when he ends up the ground.
And he's up the ground, but he's still at half back. So he sets sail, hoping that Clark can take a mark in the forest there. It comes down. And they're away again. Barlow angles it into Ballantyne. Now he's got Sandilands on here. Neat little step to get back onto his right. Not sure who was ready for it up ahead. Everyone thought it was going to the other side. And the Eagles fought amongst themselves. De Boer sensed an opening, could have laid it off, but knew that he could get and have a shot. Unfortunately, it's a behind.
Well, they're too hungry, aren't they? The Eagles, they're fighting over themselves, but that's a good sign. They want to get the ball and they want to keep running this game right out and make the Freo Dockers pay for not being hungry enough.
One thing that John Warside's all about is continual improvement. They've identified their couple of fade-outs in the last couple of weeks, and they've certainly addressed it this week.
Stay out, Hayden. Back for McKenzie. Plants it up onto the wing. Schofield and Sandilands and Pearce. Great determination again from Schofield.
See, Sandilands needs to take that mark.
Yeah, I mean, he had to clear it.
It wasn't a hard mark. He's the biggest man on the ground, and contest has no bearing on it.
Well, Waters slips out of that one quite comfortably too. Crichton back with the flight did well.
You talk about gradual improvement, Jacko. I reckon Marston's work rate has continued to improve year on year, and it had to 2 or 3 years ago. He's right off the pace. In fact, there was a question mark as to whether he was going to make it.
And to add to that, he had to find a few other avenues in his game that would improve, and one of them has been goal kicker this year. He's provided that in the back half of last year, and in the finals he had a very good final series as well. So played that midfield forward, but obviously he's working his way back in to try and get a #1 midfield spot.
Yeah, I just love the way he runs defensively. Doesn't get as much as others, but as soon as there's a turnover in possession, he just pushes hard into defence. So does Gaff too. As an elite runner, he's always pushing back hard.
Luke McFarlane then. That's a good strike. Is it good enough, or did Cox get a hand to it? He certainly did. Waters with the instant kick in. Goes for Brennan. Duffield was onto him. Barlow. De Boer. And has he found the middle? He has. Well, at last it comes. First score since, what, midway through the second term.
Yeah, they kicked the last 9 goals, the West Coast Eagles. Last goal was, it would have been in the second quarter, was it?
Yeah.
Just loving the way you're working that computer, Rook.
I'm trying to.
So De Boer joins a very short list of goal kickers for Fremantle. It's midway through that second term and they last scored a goal.
12-minute mark.
Finally got the buttons working.
I found it.
You're on. Computer duties from now on, Roo.
So where to from here for the Dockers,
Yeah.
Roo?
Good question, Jared.
Well, I tell you what, when you get a pasting like this, it's not the easiest time to respond.
Got a pasting last week, don't forget.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's pasting on pasting at the moment, which
And it was all in one quarter, in particular. The second quarter last week against Hawthorn, third quarter this week against the Eagles.
Well, I think they've been pretty poor since the second quarter, Jacko. They just didn't put on the scoreboard, the Eagles, in that...
but it was 20 points apiece at half-time. They really worked they did their strategies and their research really well during the week and made a fist of it. It was a fantastic game of football from a contested point of view to half-time. Then after that, they had a massive lapse of mental concentration.
Yeah, I think at some stage we're going to talk about ability as well.
Yeah.
Because...
here's Clark trying to will it back, and it won't.
You just keep looking at this side and you say, OK, here's their first rotation through the middle, looks pretty good. Second rotation through the middle, looks pretty ordinary. And coming off half-back, kicks aren't good enough. They've got a long way to build under Ross Lyon. He's got a long job in front of him.
I mean, West Coast Eagles have got 4 of their best players out, and Dockers have got 1. Even magnifies it even more.
When you look back a couple of years ago, Jared, everyone was surprised how quickly they rejuvenated, really. When Mark Harvey went for the young kids, Hill came through in his first year, Morabito, Fife obviously a year later, and we thought it was pretty rosy for Fremantle. But
well, the upside is Morabito and Fife coming back in. That's, you know, you will see a bit of Morabito this year. We'll see, hopefully, a lot of them both next year. But, you know, they're going to add to the depth. They've got genuine class, but they've got to find another 2 or 3 off that from the draft and do it in a hurry.
Well, the thing is, I mean, Pavlich is... I know his contract went to the end of 2014, but he's not going to get any better from here, is he?
Yeah, but you still need him. You still need
experience. Oh, no, you do.
And he's by far their worst player.
Lynch. Marston. The point was, though, I guess if they want to challenge for a flag, they'd like to do it while Pavlich is still a player of some significance, so they don't have a lot of time.
I think that what they'll be hoping for too is that they can pick up Ross Lyon's game plan and really get a fair improvement out of that.
Well, Ross Lyon showed that, I mean, he did have some stars at St Kilda, there's no doubt about that, and more stars than what Fremantle have got, but Jared, he had the ability to use role players in their spot, didn't he? Yeah,
I accept all that, but you've got to have that genuine A-grade stuff around those role players, and you know, it's 2 or 3 players makes the domino effect work significantly. If Morabito can jump up and become the player that everyone thought he could be, and he showed in those first season and a half before he got injured. We know Fife's got absolute class, but what they got out there at the present time just hasn't come through. Mundy is just nowhere near the player he was when he was pushing up for All-Australian before being injured. Ballantyne hasn't taken the next level, and I think we all thought he was going to this season. So there's another couple that
Hill.
Yeah, they need to address where they're at in their careers.
Rose has had 42 touches, boys.
Yeah, it's astonishing, isn't it? Well and truly past his career best, which was 35. Got there a couple of times. So 8 minutes 20 to go. What about the Ross Glendenning medal? Is it just sheer weight of numbers for Rosa?
Well, at half-time I would have given it to Darren Glass.
That's cool.
I thought he was just superb across the half-back line, and probably Michael Johnson for the Dockers. Going to be hard to see a Docker getting up in this in the medal right now. I think if he was pushed up, Ross might do what he's done before and change the voting.
Straight back.
What about you, Jack? You're giving your own medal. Who are you going to run out to?
I like
Jack Darling,
Shannon Hearn, Darren Glass, Schofield, all the backmen.
Chewy.
Gaff having a field day as well. Lynch.
Take it off. You. Take the glove off.
He doesn't take it off.
Yeah. Just pulls the sock up. He's had a good day as well.
Yeah, the last couple of years, just as the side's got back into form, so has Lynch's career.
Let's have a look at his kicking action this time. He has been stabbing the last few. What is he doing with his kicking?
He murdered that one, and it's still alive.
I saw him last week. He was kicking through the ball beautifully.
Clark hacked it out. Marston. Kerr delays. Shuey. Yes! Whoa. There's another one racked up to the Eagles. When you talk about class midfielders coming through, it's such a beautiful mix the West Coast have, Gerard.
They've just done it really well with Shuey and Gaff coming through. Obviously, Prittis has continued to get better through the years. Marston we've talked about. But if Shuey doesn't win the medal, I think he's destined for a podium finish. Right now, it'd be pretty difficult, I think, for Rosa not to pick it up just by sheer weight of numbers. But the shoe is on the end of a nice handball.
Uses the ball so well too, doesn't he, Luke Shuey?
He's just good inside and outside. It's, as you mentioned, with Gaff also in the team. It's got a lovely combination as Fremantle take a rare trip into the 50.
Luke Shuey just needs to pray that Daniel Kerr continues to keep on going, because when the tags leave Kerr, they're going to end up somewhere, and it'll be probably Shuey or Gaff.
Well, do you think that it's time the opposition tagged another player, Jerry?
I think the opposition will go through the stats like we do, and that is when you tag Kerr, you can keep him to a relatively okay game. When you let him off the chain, he's best on ground or close enough too. So
you keep tagging him?
I'd keep tagging him.
It's not just form, it's if they don't tag him, he's going to come out and kill you. He's the most dangerous player still.
That's a great scenario, isn't it, for the other Eagles? That's for sure. Waters.
It's a great scenario for him when Cousins and Judd are in the side as well.
Yes.
I always thought Kerr, coming back from his injuries, would come back as a small forward. But Josh Hill has made that position his own. He can obviously go down there at some stage. Kurt, if in fact he is tagged out of it, it's not a bad option because he can kick goals.
Yep. Sandilands try to hook it down to Pavlich. But Selwood. And here's Shuey for some more. Boundary line too close. Last quarter has seen the Eagles extend this margin out to 51 points. Four 1 to 1-3.
And they work so well together, these midfielders. Have a look at this, the block. Kerr blocks, Shuey comes around. And whilst they don't get the ball, they just know that they're working hard for each other.
Yep.
Sandilands leaving it up to half forward. Adam Selwood. Marston. Cox. Inch by inch, they're getting there again. Gaff. Natanui's deep. Hill up. Not quite over. Crichton. Oh, Hill found a way to seduce the footy. And again, he goes for the near on impossible. That would have been astounding.
3-goal for Josh Hill. So good day at the office for a small forward. You're entitled to have a shot there at this stage of the game, aren't you, Gerard?
Oh, no doubt, Root. You're making the rules. You're the showdown expert. And if you say it's okay, it's okay.
Go for it, Josh. Enjoy it.
It's kick 20 for the season now.
Might win the Coleman medal.
He might.
I'm sure the rules apply to derbies.
Van Berlo, who started the day as the sub, had Clark in mind, but Hearn decided that he was going to intercept there.
Just a talk, Bunga.
Crowd will call for it. Go along to Natanui.
Go on. It's like they're just going to practice a bit of possession footy, are they?
Seems that way. Selwood. And they got the man loose. It was Cox. Natanui still lurking deep, but goes for a mid-range kick. Really neither here nor there. Mundy. Barlow. Good collaborative play that through the middle domain. They're on the fast break and they are closer to goal than their opponents. So that's something. And that is Zach.
That's a good grab from Zach.
Dawson.
Nice kick as well. Maine's continued to work hard.
Kicked one for the year.
Well, they half gave him that one, the West Coast Eagles. Hearn, for whatever reason, decided to go short and sideways instead of putting the pressure on the defenders and going long. So,
oh, he wants the handball. So Zach Dawson, Ross Lyon bringing him across, of course, from St Kilda. And he's a pretty safe kick generally, and that's a goal.
That's pretty good conversion from Zach Dawson. Here's the turnover. Good punch. And then just a chain of handballs. Mundy just working it down from the back. Hasn't had much of the footy today, Mundy. That's 2 handballs, bringing him up to a total of 16. But it is just frightening what's happened to this side in the last hour of footy. They've gone from really competitive to looking like the flag's gone up.
40,000 people at Patersons Stadium. Fremantle's lowest ever score at this ground is 6:8:44. They're on 5:6:36. So they've got 3 minutes 40 to kick a couple of goals and avoid that unwanted record to their name.
Another clearance set up by Shuey. Gaff again gets on the end of it, and into the forward line they go.
And keep going, Jared.
Nearly worked into some commentary there. Look
just
out.
keep going, Jared.
Jacko, whilst we're talking about blockages at stoppages, whenever I talk to Eagles officials from the last glory days in 2006, Rowan Jones's name always comes up, the former vice-captain, and the blockage work he did to release Chris Judd, I think, is in their minds such an unheralded aspect of their success.
It's actually folklore in the club's history. When he was on the fringe, Judd Cousins would go to the match committee on a Thursday night, just ask, was Rowan Jones picked?
Yep.
Nick Nananui, he's given us a couple of great moments today. Drifted in and out of the game as his way. Has had 11 disposals.
Have a look at the inside 50s now, boys. It's 60 inside 50s to 30. Gee.
Well, that sums it up as much as anything, doesn't it? Reflecting the domination of the West Coast Eagles since quarter time.
There's some Fremantle players down in stats. Pearce 8, Mazungu 8, Boer 10, Hill 10, Silvani 12, Neil 13.
That little play made in haste, and it didn't amount to much from Quinton Lynch.
Duffield is a loose with 13.
What's going on with the big Q's kicking?
Well, that one was just fairly rushed, I think. But yeah, you're right. A couple of the other ones have been an interesting connection. Zungu. Waters. He's nearly within range, but not quite. Quinton might be. He attempted one from here at the other end earlier. Rosa, can he cap off a stellar day? His 43rd disposal. Hits Marston on the chest.
There's nothing wrong with that kick from the big fellow.
Hayden, 2 metres for me. Thank you. Chris Marston decided to bounce the ball on the way back to the spot where he's having the shot from. Luckily, it wasn't called play on, Roo. Comes in, starts it at the left goal post, and it just fades a fraction.
Yeah, unusual. You don't see too many players do that. I actually missed it. We'll have a quick look here. He takes the mark.
And there's a bounce.
Yes, I've never, ever seen
Play
that
on every day of the week.
in 20-odd years of footy. What is going on out there?
There's a 50 from the kick in. And everyone, all the pieces just shuffle up the ground. Look at them all go.
40,900, Jacko. It's a good crowd.
Yeah, very good crowd.
About 40,000 of them leaving pretty happy too, I think. The angles are worked out wide. Mazunga had it knocked away from Waters. Lynch and Cox. There's always a little next move for the Eagles. Waters to Lynch again. Marston's on if he so chooses. Still there for him at half forward.
Yeah, he is. If he puts it over as long.
Which he does. And Marston should go up and take the mark, which he also does. He had a smorgasbord of choices. Kicked it somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah, it wasn't a great kick by Marston there. Could have done a lot better than that.
Silvani, who started very well, but he, like all the Freo defenders, have been overwhelmed as the afternoon's gone on. Sheer supply 5 seconds to go. Siren will sound. Another triumph for the West Coast Eagles. Derby 35, comprehensively belonging to them. A 48-point victory, but it was a smashing in the second half. A lot to think about for Fremantle, but Nick Natanui turned it on when he needed to, and so did the Eagles, high-flying once again. There's the final scoreline, 11-18-84 to 5-6-36.
Well, that's the lowest score for Freo, I think, isn't it? You said it was 6-6.
Yep, at Patersons Stadium.
5-6 is not what you want to be remembered for, I wouldn't have thought, in a day where it's absolutely perfect conditions as well.